What if we told you one of the best Star Wars movies starred the Ewoks? No, it's not Return of the Jedi, it's Ewoks, Battle for Endor. Yes, this 1985 TV movie that isn't even canon is easily one of the best movies in this entire franchise. It's got Wicket packing heat, characters that feel more Conan the Barbarian than Star Wars, Wilford Brimley kicking ass, and massive amounts of death. Yes, this is real. The Star Wars Ewoks movie is better than you think, haters.
I'm proud to know you, and my life is better for it.
Allow us to explain. This movie is a sequel to Caravan of Courage, the first Ewok film, but you don't need to watch that movie. It's not good.
Into the garbage, you flyboy!
All you need to know is that Sindel's family was stranded on Endor and they befriended the Ewoks. And at the start of Battle for Endor, that family is murdered by evil warlord Tarek.
My family, they're all dead.
The only comfort Sindel has in this moment of grief is Wicket's creepy face. Man, this girl is gonna be messed up. Thankfully, they run into another human, Noah, played by the legendary Wilford Brimley.
No door, huh? Well, I'll make us a door.
He starts off as a grump, but comes to care for Sindel, and when she's captured, it's up to Noah and Wicket to save her and the other captured Ewoks. On the one hand, this is very much a kid's movie, right out of a children's fantasy novel. The gang even sneaks past some guards by pulling a Muppet Man.
Get your foot out of my eye.
Oh, I can't believe I fell for Muppet Man.
But more often than not, this movie goes so much harder than it needs to. Sindel's plagued by nightmares of her dead family.
Help, help!
Noah uncovers the skeleton of his only friend. Shiral, an evil sorceress, is forced to live the rest of her life as a raven. And the movie's climax is resolved with Wicket making Tarek activate a magic ring, only for it to incinerate the warlord into a corpse. Much of this comes from the film pulling inspiration from sword and sorcery fantasy movies of the 80s, like Conan the Barbarian and Beastmaster. It delights in the kind of fantasy settings you'd never get in a modern Star Wars movie or show. Lush and gorgeous matte paintings, stop-motion creatures that have thankfully been spared any special edition style treatment. And with 80s fantasy comes a heavy helping of campiness. Shiral is just hamming it up the entire movie like she's the Wicked Witch of the West.
I told you there was no escape.
Shiral also brings in a power source that has nothing to do with the Force. It's just straight up magic. So not only do we get a film free of the Force, but there's not a single Skywalker in sight. 30 years early, this film gave detractors of the sequel trilogy what they wanted. It expands the universe with a new unknown power that isn't tied into just constantly referencing the OG trilogy. But the element that really makes this whole thing a joy to watch? Wilford Brimley.
Take that, you big tall lummox.
This man threads the needle between a grump of an old guy and a broken man with a secret heart of gold. The way he bonds with Wicket and Sindel, especially in the scene where they all play music together, is whimsical in a way no other Star Wars property has ever been. It makes the more bog-standard, rescue from the castle plot come alive with wonder and joy. When Noah helps Sindel focus on the happy memories of her dead family, it's beyond heartwarming.
And if you remember all the things he said to you, and if you remember how much he loved you, then he'll never be gone.
Is the film perfect? No, it's got a pretty slow pace. And while the OG trilogy references are few, there's a big one that sticks out like a sore thumb. In the final battle, Noah reactivates his ship and gets in a turret to light up the bad guys with a few well-placed blasts.
Aha! Do not come around bothering me.
Way too close to Han and Luke using the Falcon's turret guns in A New Hope.
I got him! Great kid, don't get cocky.
But on the whole, Ewoks: The Battle for Endor rules. We suspect that even hardcore fans of Star Wars have written this one off, and that needs to change. Especially with it streaming on Disney+, you've got no excuse. There's nothing quite like it in the Star Wars universe, and actually makes the Ewoks kind of rule. Have you seen Ewoks: The Battle for Endor? Should this actually become a trilogy? What would you want the next installment to be about? Read a longer version of this story on denofgeek.com.